So good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be back here at the Parsha class, our Chumash class, every Thursday morning, 9:30. And this week I wanted to share a short thought before we begin our regular learning. This week's Parsha's name is Vaeschanan, and that means to beseech, to request, to pray endlessly. And what's interesting is that Moshe would pray to enter into the land of Israel. And he's praying again and again and again. Our sages tell us that the word Vaeschanan, which means to beseech or to pray really seriously, is the numerical value of 515. If you take the letters, each letter equivocates to a number. And like Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, etc., etc. It equals 515 for the 515 times that Moshe prayed. Now, it's an amazing thing. Have you ever seen someone ask the same question 515 times? Right? Can I please have a candy? 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 I mean, what would we do to our child if they said, just take the candy already, right? And Moshe didn't stop till God says, listen, you don't ask again, okay? The answer is no. Now, we have to understand what prayer is, and sometimes it's hard for us to accept that sometimes, the Talmud says like this, the Talmud says that there is no prayer that comes back empty. You pray for something, you ask for something, it will come back with a response, okay? It's not an auto reply, right? But it is an all reply. Every single request that a person makes of the Almighty has an answer. But how come God didn't do what I asked for? Well, sometimes his answer is no. But there's no such thing. En tfilatan chozeret reikan. There's no such thing that a prayer comes back empty. So Moshe prays the first time, a second time, a third time, 100th time, a second 100th time, right? Till he gets to 515 times. And God says, enough, stop. The answer is no, and don't ask me again. At 515. What took Moshe so long to figure out that his answer was going to be no? What took him so long? So I think here's a tremendous lesson for us. It's a tremendous lesson for us to always know that, number one, there is no such thing as a prayer that doesn't have results. It may not be the results we want. The results we want. But there's no such thing as a prayer that doesn't have results. I want to share with you a story I heard yesterday, which is really a remarkable story. So I heard this from a dear friend of mine from New Jersey, and he said that there's a woman who is a die-hard Jets fan, right? Football, Jets, right? So she's a Jets fan. She doesn't miss a game. And when she watches the games or she's at the games, she gets so involved in the game, she'll throw things at the television, she'll yell, she'll scream. She's so, immersed in the experience of the game. So one time she had a family wedding on a Monday night, and they were playing Monday Night Football. What's she gonna do? She can't watch the game, right? Because she has the wedding. So she asked her friend, can you do me a favor? Can you DVR it for me? And I'll watch it after the wedding. So after the wedding, she comes and she's sitting down to watch it. And the friend says, just by the way, they won. So she's like, why did you have to say that? All right. She said, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, I'm sorry. Okay, now middle of the first quarter, they're down 21-0. And she's not throwing things at the television. She's all relaxed. Why? Because at the end of the day, she knows that they won. So how they get there, we'll see now. But what's best for the team is already, she knows. They won. Think of that in our lives. We sometimes get caught up in things like, how come this isn't working? We have to realize that at the end of the day, God is always there to take care of us. He's always there to make us a winner. We're always winners. Now, we don't always know how we're going to get there, and sometimes we're stuck in such a, We're like, it's impossible. They're 21-0 in the first quarter. They're for sure going to lose. Don't worry. If you know, and if you look back at your life, you'll see that every single time it came out for the better. Right? Every time, it ended up working out even better. He lost the job, but then he got a better job, right? Still, they shouldn't have fired him. But that's because we hold a grudge, right? If someone gets fired from a job, so we're like, oh, we hold a grudge against that person. But really, it's Hashem is saying, now it's time to pivot, move, excel yourself, push yourself to the next level. You're too comfortable where you are. It's time to change. It's time to grow. It's time to become better. So, whenever we're faced with a challenge, we shouldn't be praying for specific results. Our sages warn about praying for specific results, because you may get those results and they may not be good for you. So what a person needs to pray for is that they shouldn't have a prolonged challenge, and number two is that the challenge should indeed be for the best and I should be able to see it. But not that it should be the way I see it with my eyes right now, because what I see with my eyes right now is very limited. Sometimes we're in a fog, we're in the clouds and we don't really see with clarity. We're asking for a specific result that might be detrimental to us. So prayer doesn't mean I want a specific result. Prayer means I want to connect more through this experience. Prayer means I want to take this experience and be elevated in my relationship with God from it. Prayer doesn't mean that I'm going to ask and I'm going to get it. No, prayer means you'll have some clarity, hopefully. It's very important because prayer is the number one tool of communication with God. We talk things out and we can cry to God, and we can, like Moses, 515 times. You'd think that a parent would get annoyed by their child praying so much. We don't see that with Moses. If God didn't get annoyed, he just tells him after 515, it's time to stop. Now it's time to stop. I think it's an amazing power that we have. It's all within our lips, within our hearts, to pray. And it's very interesting also that the name, in this week's Parsha, we do a whole review of the entire Torah, not entire, but many important parts of the Torah. We have the Ten Commandments again, we have the Shema, we have many important things. And what is the name of the portion? Vaeschanan, it's beseeching God. At the end of the day, all of the relationship we have through the mitzvahs, through everything that we do, boils down to prayer. Hashem should bless us that all of our prayers should be successful, they should all be answered positively, and we should be able to see how they're positive. We should be able to understand how this is for our betterment, for what's best for us. And sometimes what we think is best for us is not necessarily what God thinks, seeing the big picture. He has the zoom out. It's like you imagine, they say a parable of, there's a guy who painted this beautiful picture on the top of a mountain, right? So he made this beautiful, enormous canvas, and he painted this incredible work of art. And he looks at it after, and he's like, wow, this is amazing. And he takes a step back, and he's like, wow, this is incredible. And he takes another step back, and someone is yelling and yelling and yelling. He's like, what are you yelling? Look at this piece of art. The person comes and tears the whole art. And he's like, what are you doing? He says, you just ruined my art. He says, no, I just saved your life. Look behind you. You're about to fall off the cliff. Right? So sometimes we see this is terrible. But look at what just happened. I just saved your life. Right? We don't know. We realize by the story with Balak. Right? We had a few weeks ago in the end of Deuteronomy, we read the portion of Balak. Balak was a king of Moab, and he wanted to curse the Jewish people. And he goes to the prophet Bilam, who was the most powerful prophet ever, more powerful than Moses, to curse the Jewish people. And you wonder, right? Think of Moses for a second. By the way, there's no portion named after Moses. There's no portion named after Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There's no portion named after after Joseph. Right? There's no portion named after any of them. The first portion named after a person is Yisro, a non-Jew, a convert. Right? And then you have Korach, who was not a great guy. You have Balak, right, who was a Moabite king. And you have Pinchas. And that's it. You have no other portions really named after anyone else. But you have Balak, a portion named after him, and you wonder, one second, think of Moses for a second. Moses is writing the Torah and everything, the golden calf, and I remember this, everything I remember. And Aaron, the way he responded when his children died, everything is, right? Suddenly, there's a story, God says, here, listen to this, okay? And there was a king of Balak who stood on the top of the mountain overlooking the Jewish people, and he wanted to curse the Jewish people. And Moses is like, what? Where did this come from? I didn't know anything about this. Right? And this whole thing orchestrates without Moses even knowing about it. He doesn't know anything about it until he's writing it in the Torah. How many times are there miracles that happen in our lives we know nothing about? And they just happen behind the scenes, and potentially we'll never know about it. We'll never know about all those dangers that God saved us from. All of those hardships that God eliminated before it even came to us. That's also part of our prayer, is to be able to appreciate all of the incredible things. The more we pray, the more we connect. Hashem should bless us. We should always have prayers that are accepted and wanted by the Almighty. And as we know, they're all answered. They should all be answered positively. Amen. Have an amazing Shabbos, my dear friends.